I would imagine that just about everybody in church today has experienced some bad days, some pessimistic moments. We didn't get the raise, we didn't get into the college we wanted, all kinds of things like that. They happen to us in these days of our lives. And sometimes we experience disappointment and just bad days. It does actually happen. Sometimes we are rather cynical about the life that we have, or the life that is around us, or somebody in our family. All those things are there. We have them. We have a couple of things today to think about, that God doesn't want us to live like that. If you go to the very first line of the Bible, way back in Genesis, and it was a beautiful thing. It says, in the beginning. And when you hear that in Hebrew, it's Bereshit. In the beginning. It's how the Bible starts. God created the heavens and the earth, and there was chaos. And God brought order. God, He made light. He took that just mess, so to speak, and now He is organizing it, giving it purpose, giving it a way we can live and deal with that. When you look at the gospel today, St. Mark, he begins the gospel with the same words, Bereshit, in the beginning. And just as God in Genesis is organizing the universe, now God comes and wants to put more order into our lives. We can't stop those negative times in our lives. We can't stop them. They happen. But we don't have to open the door for them. We have some remedies to that. And we want to think about Advent, the second week of Advent, when God now, and through St. Mark, something new is there. Something new, a new law, a new way of living. And we see it throughout the history of the church, especially in the lives of the saints. One of the most beautiful lives that was ever lived was King Louis IX of France. He was just a tremendous ruler for 50-some years. And he had a way of governing that I wish all of our leaders would do, but that hasn't happened yet, so we have to keep on working on that. He was such a good man that he would go into the streets and distribute alms to the poor out of the royal treasury. He would invite people into the palace to have dinner, 10, 15 people at a time. Sometimes he would go out and sit by a big oak tree. And the people would come to him and say, well, this is what's going wrong. We need to do this, we need to do that. He was a leader truly for his people. Wouldn't it be great if all of our politicians would do that? I think that would be really kind of cool. So any of you that want to live like that, you can become a politician and bring that joy and that peace and that righteousness to a ruling class. That's what God wants us to do. Easier said than done, I know that. But that is what we are called to do. We have a couple of things that we hear in that second reading. See, God has not forgotten us. He's always looking out for us. We hear in this beautiful section of St. Peter's letter that one of the things he says, we have to always be holy. Always be holy. And that's, how we act. How do we actually act? Do we act in a holy way? When you're driving to work in the morning, do you drive with holiness? Or is it everybody for himself? And complaining about how bad all the other drivers are. And of course, I always wonder what they're seeing about the way we drive. Might be very much the same. But to have that holiness, our deeds, and we're supposed to have those deeds and actually show them to the world. It's not to be a private thing for us, but to be very, very public. And the other thing he talks about is living in holiness, devotion. And to have it, in our heart as well, not just doing things to show people, but to actually have a transformed heart. A heart that is open to the poor, to the needy. A heart that is open to change those things that hinder us from being holy. Those habits that we need to change. Perhaps the way when you get up in the morning, how do you actually act in the morning? Is it do you get up out of bed holy? And walk out of the bedroom with a holiness in your mind, in your heart, in your words. Sometimes people getting up, it's very, very primitive language. Yeah. Oh, you do that, huh? Yeah, see, don't you? Yeah. And rather than, good morning, how's everything going today? Go up and kiss mom and dad, kiss the kids. Tell them how much you love them. Wouldn't that be something if that's how we got out of bed? Might change our households. And when our households will change, then our society will change. Well, when everybody else does it, then I'll do it. Stop. That's the first grade reaction. We can do better than that. So we are called to that. Now, we have an example of that today in this Gift Sunday. This is that Sunday when we, instead of the regular collection, when they bring the baskets down, and the presents, some of you brought your presents here that we took some time from the giving tree, and we're going to give those out to the poor, to those who might not have such a nice Christmas. So after the profession of faith, then what's going to happen is everybody's going to come up the center aisle with your financial gifts. There'll be some baskets here to put the money in there, and to bring the gifts up that we're going to give to the poor. And to begin to show that in a small way that graciousness of a new way of living, a new way of living our faith. And it would be nice if we could do this every single Sunday. That would be very, very difficult. I understand that. But how much we have, and to share that, and to bring some joy to others. And then by giving joy to others, that joy redounds back to us. And yes, sometimes we have tragedies in our life. Sometimes it's very difficult. But that doesn't mean we can't enjoy the joy. And this is a day of joy for us, a great day. And tonight we'll take all these presents over to the Jamel Center, and tomorrow morning we'll be separating them out into the gifts that go to Guayaquil in Ecuador, which is our sister parish over there, to Catholic Charities. We'll get many of the presents to help those here in our city. So we have that joy. A new way of living is now almost ready to be born into our world. That we don't do what the world does. We do something that Jesus did, that God did. He brought joy. He brought peace. He brought generosity. It says we can live that way too.